Welcome back to Cold Trail's Diary, where we journey into the darkest corners of folklore and history. Tonight, we're venturing to the misty, Emerald Isle of Ireland, a land rich with breathtaking landscapes and stories that will chill you to the bone. While many think of leprechauns and rainbows, Ireland's folklore holds creatures far more sinister. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, and prepare to meet the terrifying beings that haunt the Irish night. These are the top 5 scariest stories from Ireland. Our first tale begins with the thunder of hooves in the dead of night. You might have heard of the Banshee, the wailing harbinger of death, but have you met her even more terrifying cousin? Meet the Dullahan, the headless rider. This ghastly figure rides a jet-black stallion, its eyes glowing like hellfire. But the most horrifying part isn't the horse. It's the rider. The Dullahan is a headless entity, carrying his own decaying head under one arm. The head's eyes dart around, scanning the darkness, while a grotesque, perpetual grin is stretched across its face. In his other hand, he wields a whip crafted from a human spine. The Dullahan is not a random specter. He is a collector of souls. When he stops his frantic ride, it means someone's time has come. He will call out a name, and that person's soul is instantly torn from their body. There is no escaping him. Locks, gates, and walls are no obstacle for this harbinger of doom. He can pass through any barrier. Your only defense? Gold. For some unknown reason, the Dullahan has a crippling fear of this precious metal. Even a single gold coin can be enough to make him turn and gallop back into the shadows from whence he came. But be warned. Never, ever watch him as he passes. If you dare to spy on him, he might flick blood into your eyes, blinding you, or, even worse, use his spine whip to mark you as his next victim. So if you're ever on a lonely Irish road at night and hear the sound of galloping hooves drawing near, shut your eyes tight and pray you have a piece of gold in your pocket. From a headless rider to a creature that inspired one of the most famous monsters in history. Long before Dracula took the stage, Ireland had its own spooky vampire tale, the Abhartach. This wasn't a suave caped count, but a monstrous tyrannical dwarf king who ruled over a small kingdom in what is now County Derry. The Abhartach was a cruel and powerful sorcerer, feared by all his subjects. His reign of terror was so unbearable that the local chieftains eventually banded together, hiring another warrior to slay him. The warrior succeeded, burying the evil king standing upright, as was the custom for Celtic chieftains. But the terror was far from over. The very next day, the Abhartach returned, more malevolent than before. He demanded a bowl of blood, drawn from the wrists of his living subjects, to sustain his unholy existence. Again the hero was called. He slew the Abhartach a second time, burying him in the same grave. And yet again the undead king rose from the earth, his thirst for blood unquenched. Desperate, the hero sought the counsel of a wise druid. The druid revealed the Abhartach's secret. He was one of the Neem Merb, the walking dead, and could not be truly killed by ordinary means. To defeat him, he had to be slain with a sword made of yew wood, buried upside down, have thorns, and ash twigs placed over his grave, and finally, a great heavy stone placed on top to seal him in the earth forever. The hero followed these instructions precisely. He defeated the tyrant one last time, and the Abhartach was never seen again. To this day, a large stone marks his grave in the townland of Slataverty, a permanent prison for Ireland's original vampire king. Next on our list is a creature of pure chaos, a master of disguise known as the Púca. The Púca is a shapeshifter, appearing in many forms, but most commonly as a sleek, dark horse with glowing, sulphurous eyes. It might also take the guise of a goat, a dog, or even a twisted, shadowy version of a human. Unlike the Dullahan, the Púca's intentions are not always clear. It's a trickster spirit, deriving amusement from the fear and confusion of mortals. If you encounter the Púca in its horse form, it might offer you a ride. Should you be foolish enough to accept, you're in for the most terrifying journey of your life. The Púca will gallop at breakneck speed, through thorny bushes, over treacherous cliffs, and across frigid streams, all while you cling on for dear life. It finds immense pleasure in leading travelers astray, leaving them lost and terrified in the middle of nowhere. It might mimic human voices to lure you off a path, or cause livestock to stampede. However, the Púca isn't always malevolent. Some stories say that if you treat the Púca with respect, it might offer you helpful advice or prophecy. It's said that the great High King of Ireland, Brian Boru, once tamed a Púca and forced it to promise two things: that it would no longer torment Christian people and that it would stop attacking Irishmen except for those who were drunk and out looking for trouble. So while some Púca encounters end in a night of terror, others can be strangely beneficial. This unpredictability is what makes the Púca so unnerving. You never know if you're re-dealing with a playful prankster or a malevolent force bent on your ruin. Our fourth story takes us to the deep, dark lochs of Ireland, where a creature far more dangerous than the Loch Ness Monster is said to dwell. This is the Each-Uisce, or the water horse. On the surface, it appears as a beautiful, tame horse, sometimes even with a saddle and bridle, grazing peacefully near the water's edge. It seems like a lost, gentle animal, tempting weary travelers to ride it. This is a fatal mistake. The moment a person mounts the Each-Uisce, its true nature is revealed. The creature's skin becomes adhesive, trapping the rider on its back. There is no escape. With its victim firmly secured, the Each-Uisce lets out a terrifying shriek and gallops at an impossible speed straight into the deepest part of the lake. The rider is dragged down into the cold, dark depths, where the monster drowns and then devours them. All that is ever left floating on the surface is the victim's liver. Unlike its Scottish cousin, the Kelpie, which primarily haunts rivers and streams, the Each-Uisce prefers the saltwater and freshwater lochs. It is considered far more vicious. These stories served as a stark warning to children and travelers to stay away from the water's edge, especially when a lone, beautiful horse appears. The next time you see a majestic horse by a secluded Irish lake, resist the temptation to approach it. It might not be a lost animal, but a hungry predator waiting to drag you to a watery grave. For our final story, we move from monsters to a curse, born from the pursuit of ultimate wisdom. This is the dark side of the famous legend of the Salmon of Knowledge. The story goes that an ordinary salmon ate 9 hazelnuts that fell into the well of wisdom, and in doing so, gained all the knowledge in the world. The first person to eat the salmon would, in turn, acquire that knowledge. A poet named Finnegas spent years trying to catch this fish. When he finally did, he asked his young apprentice, a boy named Fionn mac Cumhaill, to cook it for him, warning him not to eat a single bite. While cooking, Fionn burned his thumb on the hot fish. Instinctively, he put his thumb in his mouth to soothe the pain, and in that instant, all the world's knowledge flooded into his mind. He had accidentally tasted the salmon first. While Fionn went on to become one of Ireland's greatest heroes, the story doesn't end there. There's a darker interpretation, a curse tied to this forbidden knowledge. The curse suggests that gaining such immense wisdom comes at a terrible price. The knowledge is not just of science and art, but of every sorrow, every betrayal, and every death that has been and ever will be. It's the burden of knowing the exact moment of your own demise and being powerless to stop it. It's seeing the futility in every struggle and the inevitable decay of all things. This knowledge doesn't bring power. It brings an all-consuming despair. Fionn, the great hero, may have been blessed with wisdom, but he was also cursed to carry the weight of the world's suffering for the rest of his days. It's a chilling reminder that some knowledge is not meant for mortal minds, and seeking it can lead to a fate worse than any monster. And there you have it, 5 terrifying stories from the shadows of Irish folklore. From headless riders to bloodthirsty kings and cursed knowledge, Ireland is a land where ancient horrors still feel terrifyingly close. Which of these stories did you find the most frightening? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on another journey into the unknown here at Cold Trails Diary. If you enjoyed this dive into the dark side of the Emerald Isle, please give this video a like and subscribe for more explorations of chilling legends and unsolved mysteries. Stay safe and always be wary of what lurks in the shadows.